Are you with me? Am I telling you the truth? All right, you know that. Envy, murderers, drunkenness, revelries, and the like, of which I tell you beforehand, just as I've also told you in times past, that those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. Now, money can buy you all of these things, and if that's what you want out of life, you just make all the money you can and steal and lie and cheat and do everything you can to attain things of this world. If that's what you want, you can buy these things. You can go down there to Hoochie Coochie Sal's and get you some El Puco Drinko and smoke you a few joints, and you can do all kinds of these things. And this is what they all lead to. This is what they all lead to. And if you think that I'm wrong, you come and tell me where I'm wrong. And Paul said, these are the things money can buy. You know, some money? You can buy these things. Now I'm going to tell you, and then of course in the end it said you can't go to heaven. You can't go to heaven. You can't take it with you. So, is that what you want? Is that the gift you want this Christmas? Y'all send out some cards. Said, I'd like to have a load of fornication, dose of uncleanliness. You know, send out some cards. You ought to be honest. Tell people what you want. Say, don't send me a Bible. Don't tell me about Jesus. I want the things that money can buy. Now, it can't buy back your youth when you're old, a friend when you're lonely, or a love that's grown cold. It can't buy those kind of things. It can't buy those things. It can't buy love that's gone. But I've given you a list here. I hope you're underlining that sucker, and I hope you can take that home and say, is this what I want for Christmas? If it is, you're the wrong place. You need to go down to Take It From You, John's. Then he lists the things that money can't buy. And that's what we've been talking about the last few weeks, and I hope you get this through your head, because you constantly want to have these flashbacks. You're going along doing pretty good, and then you have a flashback. We call it getting your monkey on your back. I worked with a boy this week, and he told me, he said, I can't never go back where I came from. I can't never do the things that I used to do. He said, I've learned better. I want to change my life and change my direction and do things worthwhile. Told me that one day. And I went out there the next day, and he was packing. Everything he told me the day before. He changed. Oh, I got to get back. I got to get to work. I got to get a job. I got to make some money. And we got a song out there we sing to him. All I need is a job and a place to stay. All I need is a job and a place to stay. If I had a job and a place to stay, everything would be okay. All I need is a job and a place to stay. Now, they've had 100 jobs. They've stayed all across the country, most jails. You know, they've had jobs. They've had places to stay. And everything wasn't okay. Was it? You've had jobs. You've had places to stay. You've been the big pretender. And where did it get you? But the monkey gets on your back, see? And the demons came on him, and he needed these pills. Now, he didn't realize it was the monkey on his back. He didn't realize that the pills had taken back over, you see. And so he said, I just need a job. I just need a place to stay. But the truth was, what? He needed a few of them pills that never had and never would pay his bills. The monkey. Does a monkey get on your back? You come to church and you say, that preacher's asking too much of me. I don't have time to talk to somebody about the Lord. There's always an excuse you can find. Always an excuse. You can always be so busy, can't you? How many of you have got any spare time? Mm-mm. Well, why didn't you show up to work this week? Yeah. My wife said, I said, all the women, come on out and let's decorate the building for Christmas. She said, one came. Did any come? None came. None came. Because you women were just so busy. You know, that you... Do we have our priorities right? We can all find plenty to do. I mean, somebody's got to watch Days of Your Life. And as your stomach turns, somebody's got to watch them, don't they? And God bless what those people are going through. Have you ever noticed how all those people on all them shows are all rich? When are they going to make a show of poor people? And show things like it really is, you know. Huh? And they all drive fancy cars and big jobs and, you know. But they all have to have a drink to talk, don't they? They can't talk to each other without a drink. I'd like to be in the wine business if I was in the world. You want the things money can buy for Christmas? Is that what you want? Well, you say, I know. Well, Is that what you're working for? What are you working for? What gift are you going to give to the Lord? The things money can buy? Or are you going to attain the gifts that only God can give? Now here they are. The gifts of God, the fruit of the Spirit is love. How many of you would like to have a big box of love? True love. True love. Not that lying, cheating, conniving love. Not that love like your fourth husband had. You know, I've got a friend, this is true, that has been married 5 times to the same woman. And they're married again. 5 times to the same woman. I mean, he's looking for love. Is that the kind of love you want? I don't know. To me, that wouldn't turn me on. So now how long are you going to stay this time? You know, where are you going to go this time? How many of you would like to have love, true love? What the world needs now is love, true love. That's the only thing that we have too little of. How many of you believe that? How many of you believe that you got to love God before you can love someone else? Hey, we're getting through to you. That's one of the gifts that I want for Christmas. True, godly love. Now you find that under your tree, you're going to be all right. And then what about joy? How many of you like to have a big old box of joy? Just happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I'm so happy, happy, happy. I'm so happy. Why? Happy. Would you like to have a big box of good, pure, happy? That's a gift money can't buy. That only God can give. You can't show me a happy person that don't put God first in their life. I visited this woman one time, and her daughter was Miss Virginia. And she said, Joel, I don't know what I'm going to do with her. I said, she's so miserable. She's so miserable. I said, well, I know that. She said, how'd you know? I said, because she's not a Christian. Well, why do you say that? I said, because she's a Christian, she'd be happy. I know that. I believe that. You come around me with them faces as long as a mule, you got a problem. You got a problem. You ain't got a box of happy that comes only from God. And she said, well, won't you talk to her? I said, I'll talk to her. And boy, she walked in, she was a good-looking girl, and that was back when I was younger. And, you know, That's 4 minutes, sure. And she come in with that, nose stuck up in the air and all that kind of stuff. And everything I'd say, she'd have something smart to say back. I said, wouldn't you like to be happy? What you talking about? I said, you are a messed up, unhappy girl. And she said, how'd you know? I said, because you ain't got Jesus in your heart. How'd you know? I said, because you're so depressed. You're not blessed. I ended up taking her to the church and baptizing her in the name of Jesus Christ for the remission of her sins. I gave her some joy. She went and got her boyfriend. I baptized him into Christ. He wore a wig. This is true. And he thought nobody knew. Did you ever notice how people try to deceive and pretend, they wear girdles and all that kind of stuff? What you see with me is the real thing. You heard about the guy got on the plane and sat down, and the guy beside him said, get that beer belly off of me. He said, I'll have you know that's not a beer belly, I'm a preacher. He said, well, get that chicken cup off me. But I started to baptize him, and it's about like that. He said, our wig. And he said, I can't get it wet. This is true. I could write a book at you folks. And I thought, I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll get you down below the wall. You pull your wig off. Lay it on the step. And I said, I'll stop and let you do that. And then I said, we'll go under. And then when I come up, I'll stop again and let you put it on. And we did. And I guess people wondered, how'd he come out there with dry hair, But he had joy. He had love. He had a Christian girlfriend. She had a Christian boyfriend. And they started a beautiful life together, taking advantage of the gifts that money can't buy. Miss Virginia hadn't accomplished that. The new Cadillac they drove hadn't accomplished that. But the wonderful gift that only God could give. And you just go on. So many people, Christmas is a time of dread. You want to see it over with. Let's be honest. You want to see it over with. The reason we do this drama out here, we started out, the first drama we did was across 501. There used to be a Hardee's there and a Brindle's. I believe it's Brindle's. And we went down there in the parking lot and we built a nativity scene. Put some animals and some people there, and it was beautiful. And people come along, and this one little boy came along and got out of his mama's car, and he just stood there and looked. And his mama would say, "Come on," and she couldn't get him to come back to the car. He was so fascinated with the Christmas songs and the joy of knowing about Jesus. And he stayed there a long time, and it made me realize the kids today don't know what Christmas is about. I believe that. I read a report this morning that out of a class of 25 students in school, not a student knew anything about Jesus being associated with Easter. They didn't know what Easter was about. They didn't know what Jesus was about. You know, when God's people crossed over into Canaan, and Joshua had become the leader, they found a tragedy. The people didn't know who God was. Now here he'd brought them 40 years. He'd brought them, fed them, clothed them, took care of their every need. And yet in all of that time, the children, now the parents didn't get to enter the promised land. You know that. But the children did. And the parents had not taught their children about God. They didn't know who God was. 25 students in a class, and not a student knew why Jesus went to the cross, or what the cross was about, or what the burial of Jesus was about, or the resurrection of Jesus was about. You know what that tells me? That tells me the parents had not given their children any knowledge of Jesus. The failure of the parents. Now, I wonder this morning how many parents are going to give their kids Wackos, Nintendos, Princess Barbies, Oochie Goochies, you know, just load that tree. Go out and go in debt. You ain't got money to give to the Lord to spread the gospel, but you can lay away and pay someday to buy presents. But have you told them about Jesus? How many parents are going to tell their children the Christmas story? How many kids are going to be like that little boy that stood there and was fascinated because for the first time in his life, he realized there was someone who loved him, called Jesus. Folks, we're going into Christmas. You've made a lot of plans. But have you given gifts that money can buy? Or have you given gifts that only God can supply? It's your heart and only you can give it. It's your life and only you can live it. But just remember this. When you fail to lift up Jesus, it's God's love you're throwing away. It's God's love. Don't blame God. Don't blame God. It may be time you filled your home with Jesus. Let's stand.